Brekkie is something that I started along with two really good friends of mine. The three of us had a very big problem in the mornings, and that was mainly that we couldn't get access to good food, you know. Young professionals, live by ourselves, don't have mum to pamper us in the mornings. So really, either go out and grab a greasy dosa or starve. Those were the only two options that we had. And you know, when presented those kind of options, most people just tend to skip breakfast. I mean, we did. So Brekkie kind of started off because we were like, you know what, we want something nice in the mornings that gets us up and gets us excited. And added to the fact that breakfast is a very, very important meal, in fact the most important meal. From a health angle, we really wanted to have that food in the morning to make sure that we can maintain, you know, proper energy levels throughout the day. So that's kind of where the whole seed for Brekkie came from, you know, like we want something that's exciting, that's healthy, that's different every day to sort of drag us out of bed. And food is obviously the best way to do that, right? So yeah, that's kind of how we started off. Now we've been around for about 9 months, and we door deliver a different breakfast to people across Manila. That's our single proposition. That's the only thing we do. It's a 3-course breakfast delivered right to your doorstep. So obviously we're different from a traditional restaurant, as in we don't have any physical presence, right? So it's all online. You can, you know, sort of either WhatsApp us, you can tweet at us, you can send us a message on Facebook, or you can order via our website and the food gets delivered to you. What's really cool about that, from a business point of view, is that we don't have the restraints that a traditional restaurant kind of has. We don't have any capacity restraints, right? Like a normal restaurant, you walk in, you have 6 tables, you can serve 6 people at a time. You have 10 tables, you can serve 10 people at a time. Whereas for us, from one kitchen, however big or small it is, depending on the number of delivery boys that we have, we can serve as many people as we want. We don't have that capacity constraint. I mean, we don't have overheads as well, right? We don't have wait staff over there. We don't have to spend on tables. We don't have to spend on chairs and the decor and all that. So these are the typical things that usually kill the restaurant business. A lot of restaurant businesses start off, and you know, within quite a year or so, they run out of money because it's very, very expensive. We get rid of all those costs. Now, granted, experience-wise, it's not the same as going to a restaurant. It's always going to be much more fun to go sit at a restaurant, talk with friends and family, and you know, have a good time. But the problem that we're trying to solve is not sitting around with your friends and having a good time. It's getting fed in the morning on a daily basis, for which you don't really need to go sit around, right? So that's kind of how our business model really kind of helps us out, and it makes breakfast sort of affordable on a daily level. Like, I mean, the kind of food that we serve is on the expensive side, right? If you compare an idli to a croissant sandwich is more expensive. But by cutting out everything else around it, right, the space that you need to sit in and all that, suddenly having a croissant sandwich on a daily basis becomes affordable, right? Which is something everyone can indulge in on a daily basis. So yeah, that's kind of how technology has helped us feed people their breakfast and make breakfast a habit. That's a very good question. That's something that I'm kind of been struggling with getting my head around as well. Now, a food-based business, granted, it's not as expensive as starting a proper brick and mortar restaurant, but it's still quite expensive, you know. Like it's very difficult to say, you've only been around for 6 months, I'm going to take your, you know, earnings and I'm going to put a multiplier on it and then value it based on that. There's a much bigger opportunity over here. How do you put a price on that? Honestly, we don't know. I don't think it's based just on the numbers. It's based on the opportunity that you're targeting, how good you are at, you know, exploiting that opportunity. So I think for a lot of very early stage startups, right, especially when you're going for your seed funding and all that, it's very difficult to put an actual figure saying, boom, this is how much you're worth. Right? I mean, that's all paper money that really doesn't mean much. It's more of, this is how much money you need to take this idea to the next level and reach this group of people and do some good stuff, you know. So if you look at it in terms of creating a food brand, it's it's very difficult to value that at the early stages. It's purely based on the investor's appetite, his passion for the product, his passion for the brand that you're trying to create, and your own wherewithal as well. And then, yeah, you kind of have to figure out a middle ground of this is how much I'm willing to give up, and this is how much they think they're willing to, put in. And if everything matches up, you go ahead. At least that's how we did it with the person that's invested in us. As a brand, we're not expanding to lunch and dinner. I mean, it's very clear right from the beginning, Brekkie stands for breakfast. I'm actually surprised that you asked this question now. That's usually the first thing someone asks us, especially the investor types, right? Like, oh, okay, breakfast, 3 hours a day, but a lot more people eat lunch and dinner. Why don't you have something for lunch and dinner? Yes, they do, but I think the problem is much greater at breakfast. And as a brand, we want to address that problem. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Like, if you take, for example, a nightclub, it's called a nightclub because it's there at night. They still have that space for the whole day, right? When they're not really making any money out of it or that. But what would happen if they focused on everything? So, you kind of lose the whole value proposition. And it's very difficult to sort of hit home that message of this is what we're here for if you start doing a lot of different things. Now, for us as Brekke, we want to be top of mind for people when they wake up. I mean, we are a morning business. We do everything around the mornings. And really the bigger vision over here is to sort of say, anyone in India, in a major city, when they wake up, the first thing we want to think about is what's for Brekke today? And I think that is such a powerful thing. We want to achieve that. And you can only do that through focus, right? So that's why Brekkie as a brand is for breakfast and breakfast only. Now on the flip side, you do have resources that are laying idle, right? I mean, kitchen equipment is not cheap, rent is not cheap. You have labor as well. I mean, it's much easier to handle full-time labor than part-time labor. So as a business, our kitchen is still operational. We do stuff for corporates, for example, right? But that's not branded under the Brekkie brand. We're just utilizing our resources to make sure that they're still generating money. So that's kind of how we look at that problem, right? I really don't think Brekkie needs to be a 24-hour business. It's cool that we're just there for the mornings, and we'll stay that way.